Om Jnanatimrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bob, would you like to read the English for that one, please?
I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so let's continue our reading of the Bhagavad Gita at the beginning of chapter 7 this time. So last time we spoke, we recited the verse and then read the translation, so that we'll get into the purport this time.
What text are we at? 7 what?
7, number 1, text
7,
1. Yeah, text 1. Chapter is called Knowledge of the Absolute. Text 1. Exciting. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha.
Maya Sakta Manapartha.
Maya Sakta Manapatha.
Yogam Yunjan Madashraya.
Yogan Yujam Dhammasha.
Asamshayam Samagramam.
Asamshayam Samagramma.
Yatagyasya Tachtrinu.
Yatha Jagyasati Tashtanu.
And we'll do it once more. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan
Vacha.
Maya Sakta Manapartha.
Maya Sakta Manapatha.
Yogam Yunjan Madashraya.
Yogam Yunjam Madashraya.
Asamshayam Samagramam.
Samshayam Samagramma.
Yatagyasya Tachtrinu.
Yatha Gyasyasi Tashtanu.
Trinu. Yeah. So in the word for word is Shrinu. So that in the verse it's saying Trinu. And then in the word for word, the last word there, Shrinu, means try to hear. Try to hear. So that's what we're doing now. We're trying to hear. All these
Does Shunu come from Shravan?
Yeah, the same derivative. Shravanam, Kirtanam. So Shravana means hearing, like that. So it's all derived from the same root word. So that's our purpose in these soul searching sessions. We're trying to hear from God. We're trying to hear from Krishna, and trying to hear from the representative of Krishna, the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. Trying to hear from the devotees, their realizations, and that will purify our consciousness. So, Gulshan Prabhu, would you like to read the English translation, please?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Partha, how by practicing yoga in a full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." 100%.
This is the guarantee, Krishna's guarantee here.
That's
Krishna's giving a guarantee.
You don't want any more guarantee.
This is the process of knowing God in full, is by practicing yoga with the mind attached to Krishna, with the mind attached to him in full consciousness of Krishna. We practice yoga. And what is that yoga? What is that yoga? Remember, this is carrying on from the last chapter. So what was text 47 saying? Because this verse here is saying
Karma yoga.
Yeah. So that was jnana yoga. But let's look at the last verse, because this is the verse we've got now. The first verse of 7th chapter is following on from the last verse of the 6th chapter. Because Krishna is saying here in the 7th chapter, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. So what is that yoga? Let's have a look. Text 47, who wants to read that?
And all the yogis, the one with the great faith, who always abide in me, think of me within himself and render transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion.
Intimate means very close, very closely together. Like two persons of their very close friendship or love, they're called this an intimate relationship, very close. Whereas the opposite of that is, we could say, like a very formal relationship, or distant, very distant or formal kind of relationship, not very close. But intimate means very close. So if someone practices this bhakti yoga, they become very close to Krishna, a very dear friend. And many times we'll hear Krishna say that my devotee is very dear to me, and that's Sanskrit for that's Priya. So you become Krishna Priya. I know some devotees have that name. Krishna Priya means very dear to Krishna, or Vishnu Priya, very dear to Vishnu. Of course, Vishnu and Krishna is the same. So very dear. So very intimate. So how does one have that such a close relationship with God? If one renders devotional service, like it's saying here, one who renders transcendental loving service, and always thinking of me within himself. So this is bhakti yoga. Always, like we say, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So what does that mean? That you're hearing about Krishna and you're talking about Krishna or glorifying Krishna, and the result of that is you'll be remembering Krishna, you'll be thinking of Krishna. So that's the idea, that we're always hearing about Krishna, like now we're hearing from Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and we're always talking about Krishna in these soul-searching sessions. So we're hearing about Krishna, and then we're also talking about Krishna. So that if we do that, hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, hopefully the result should be that we'll be thinking about Krishna during our day. We'll be remembering him. And that's very natural. Whatever you hear about and talk about, you'll remember that. Just like if you're always hearing about money and you're always talking about money, there's a good chance you're going to be thinking about money. Like that, right? If you're hearing about women or the opposite sex and you're talking about the opposite sex, there's a good chance that you'll be thinking about
good chance you'll be going to hell.
So yeah, if you're anything, if you're hearing about a dog and talking about a dog, there's a good chance you'll be thinking about a dog. So we want to try to have the central point of our hearing and our talking, God, Krishna, and naturally we'll be thinking about Krishna. We'll be thinking about God while we're doing our different activities, just like the gopis, the cowherd girls, when they would be churning the yogurt to make butter, or they're sweeping the floor, or they're cooking for their family, or whatever they're doing, milking the cows, what are they thinking about? They're thinking about Krishna. They're thinking about Krishna's beautiful names and his qualities and his pastimes and his beautiful body, his form and everything like that. They're thinking about everything related to Krishna. So this is very natural. So this is the yoga practice. We're always hearing about Krishna, talking about Krishna, thinking about Krishna, and doing devotional service, engaging our body in Krishna's service. So if we do that, Krishna's saying here in the 7th chapter, then you can know me in full without any doubts. And this is a big impediment. This is a big impediment to us progressing, as we have so many doubts. Where do doubts come from? What's the source, the origin of doubts?
Lack of knowledge.
Yeah, lack of knowledge. So basically ignorance. So doubts come from a lack of knowledge or ignorance. But here, how do you counteract ignorance? With knowledge, right? With knowledge. So the Krishna is saying that you can know me in full. And then obviously the result of that is for you know Krishna in full, there's no more doubts. You get free from doubt. So obviously wherever there's knowledge, there can't be any doubts or ignorance. You can't have full knowledge and ignorance. It's impossible. Either you have ignorance and no knowledge, or you have knowledge and no ignorance. There's not going to be both together at the same time.
When the light comes, there's no darkness.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a great example. So when the sun's there, there's no darkness. And when there's darkness, there's no sun. You know, you're not going to have both together like that. So, and then the next question is, so how do you get that knowledge? Krishna's saying here, if you practice yoga, you can know God fully. You can know Krishna fully. So how does that develop? That you're hearing about Krishna and talking about Krishna and remembering Krishna and serving Krishna, and how do you get full knowledge of Krishna? How does that come out of that? How does full knowledge of Krishna come out of serving Krishna?
Krishna says, I'm the intelligence. If you're serving Krishna, Krishna will give you intelligence to understand.
Very good. Yeah. If you're serving Krishna, Krishna will give you the intelligence to understand. Why will he give you the intelligence to understand him if you're serving him?
Because the devotees are very dear to Krishna.
Yeah, like I said, you're very dear to Krishna, so he's pleased.
Yeah.
If you serve him, if you do what he wants, if you serve him as he wants, and that's what service is. If you're serving someone, you have to serve them according to what they want. You're not serving a person according to what you want. The way I'm going to serve Bob the way I want to serve him. I don't care if he likes it or not. No, that's not service. You know, we got to serve the person according to what they want. So this is what Krishna wants, you know, that we hear topics about him and that we talk about him and we remember him and like that. So there's in the 9 process of devotional service. So that if we follow that, we're serving him the way he wants. And if we do that, then he becomes pleased. And if he's pleased, he gives us the intelligence and knowledge in our heart. He'll enlighten us about him, you know, like that. How are you going to find out completely about any person? What do you have to do?
Associate with him, or with him or her.
Have to do service, you know, serve with that person, listen to that person.
And that means if you want to know everything about a person's financial details, family details, all personal details, everything, can anyone just find that out?
You have to listen to him. He'll tell.
How are you going to find out all the nitty-gritty, intimate stuff about a particular person? Can you just find that out on the internet or by talking to anyone? If you want to find out about a person, who's the best person to get the information from?
From that person.
From that person. Okay. And for that person to give you all that detailed, you know, personal information, are they just going to reveal it to a stranger?
No, I have to be faith.
Yeah, the person's going to have faith in you. It means they're going to have to trust you, that you're not going to do anything bad with that information. You're not going to use that information to hurt them or anything like that, abuse them or anything like that. You know, because if I gave you all my intimate knowledge about me or whatever, you might use it against me. So, you know, there's got to be a lot of trust there before the person spills out all their information about themselves. So like that. So, you know, by serving a person and you develop a loving relationship, like naturally the husband tells everything to the wife, you know, and the wife tells everything to the husband. Why? Because there's a close relationship there. There's some trust there. There's a close relationship. You have faith in the other person. They care about me. They love me. They're not going to abuse me or cheat me. Does that make sense? So then in the same way that Krishna does the same.
But there is a difference, like a human relationship, the one person to another one, they can betray it, but Krishna doesn't.
Correct.
That's the difference between human and a God.
Example. It's not a perfect example because, you know, our material relationships are not perfect. And like Gulshan said, we might betray someone like that. But still, you get the basic idea, right? Generally, if you do get close to someone and you trust them, then you will tell more about yourself. You'll tell more about yourself. Like I have a friend that we used to travel together in a van and then a bus. We were brahmacharis together distributing books for about 8 years. And we slept in the same vehicle together. We cooked together, ate together, talked about Krishna together, laughed together, cried together, distributed books together in day and night, everything together for years. And we knew each other, you know, completely, you know, everything about each other. We knew about each other's histories and everything, our interests and what we liked, what we didn't like, everything like that. Because, you know, there was a very close relationship. So we knew a lot about each other. So that's the same with God. So if we want to know everything about God, we have to first of all become trustworthy. We have to show to Krishna that we're a sincere devotee, that we sincerely love him and we want to serve him. And when he's convinced that, yeah, that Bhakti Mala and Gulshan, Bob, Abai, you know, sincerely, you know, serving me and they want to love me and surrender to me like that, and then okay, now I'll enlighten them about me. I'll tell them like that. So that's how it works, you know. So first of all, we want to develop that relationship with Krishna through serving him according to the way he wants, and then slowly he'll reveal that knowledge. And that, like Gulshan mentioned about giving the intelligence. So we can look at that verse. That's the 10th chapter, text number 10. 10:10. If you can't remember that, you've got serious problems. This is 10:10.
There is a series there called the Tintin.
Not Tintin, 10:10.
Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
Very good. And the next one?
To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance.
There you go. He's giving us the shining knowledge in our heart and getting rid of the doubts, getting rid of the ignorance. All the doubts, all the ignorance will go away when he gives that knowledge. And very, very nice to see. Bhakti Mala is beating Gulshan to the reciting the verse.
No, I give her a chance. I don't want to be all the time
he was
just
giving me a chance because he's always got to be first.
Woman power.
That's nice. Okay, so let's get into the purport. Let's see what Prabhupada says. So yeah, what we read there, 10:10, he gives us the understanding by which to come to him. If the two criteria mentioned there is that we're constantly serving him, and then the second one with love. So that's the criteria for him giving the knowledge. You're serving him every day. And constantly serving him doesn't, at this point where we are now, doesn't mean 24 hours. Sometimes it may be interpreted like that. But according to the acharyas, they are saying that when Krishna is saying constantly serving him, he's not meaning 24 hours, because of course that would not be practical for us at this stage to be serving Krishna 24 hours a day in the beginning. But what that constantly is meaning, according to the acharyas, is every day. So every day, 7 days a week, that we do some service for Krishna. And Prabhupada has made it very clear, that we should every day chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and every day follow the 4 regulator principles, like that. So in every day we hear about Krishna and, read Prabhupada's books and like that. So if we do these activities every day, then we fit into that criteria that we're serving Krishna constantly. And then with love, and obviously we don't also at the beginning have full love, like we don't have the love that Radharani has for Krishna, definitely. Her level's the highest level. That's called Mahabhava, great ecstasy. That's the highest level of love of God. There's different stages of love of God, and the highest is called Mahabhava. There's only 3 persons in the material world that have been seen with that Mahabhava. So it's not you're not expecting everyone to be on that highest level. So the one was, I said, Radharani, and then Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna in the mood of Radharani, and then a great devotee named Madhavendra Puri. So there's the 3 personalities on that highest level of love of God. But still, devotees do have some love of God.
But
I mean,
then,
if we...
the Savabhama, he's seen the actual form of the God, so it means he was not in love.
Pardon?
Savabhama.
Who?
Savabhama.
Sarvabhauma.
Yeah, he's seen
and
the
Lord
6 arm.
Chaitanya's pastimes. You're talking about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes?
Yeah, he's seen the 6 arm.
Yes,
Lord Chaitanya. So it means
Yeah.
he was in love.
Of course.
How can you see that without having a love?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's different levels of love, but we can not saying that it has to be the highest level of love, which is called Mahabhava. So, but definitely all the devotees have different levels of love, but some amount of love should be there, and Krishna's pleased by that, and then he'll give us intelligence how to come to him. I mean, if we didn't have any love at all for Krishna, then why do we even chant Hare Krishna, or why do we want to hang out with devotees, or why do we offer our food to Krishna, or why do we want to have prasadam, or why do we take the effort to drive an hour to the temple and like that? Because there is some love there. It means some faith, because love is just a development of faith. And, according to the more the faith is, and that means the love is higher. The stronger the faith is, and the love goes more and more and more. And the more knowledge we have, then the love goes more and more and more. But even in the very beginning, we have a little bit of faith in Krishna. It means there's a little bit of love there. So, and Krishna's pleased that there's some love there. Even it's said, the 9th chapter, text 26, that patram puspam phalam toyam. You can read that if you want. 9:26. If one offers to me with love and devotion a leaf, a fruit, or flower, or water, I accept it. So even you can offer a flower to Krishna, and who can't find a flower? Who can't find a leaf? Especially this refers to tulsi leaf. If you offer a tulsi leaf, but even any leaf, and or a flower or something, and if you offer it with some love, then which means, what does that mean? That we have some faith that Krishna is God, and that we're his servant, and we want to please him. And we have faith that if Krishna is pleased by our service, then our life will be perfect. Our life will be successful. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse there that explains the meaning of faith, and it says the complete conviction that simply by serving Krishna, then all of our desires will be fulfilled. And so that's saying that's what faith is. So devotees have some conviction like that. That if I can just serve Krishna, then my life will be successful. I'll be happy. My life will be perfect. And then that's why we keep going. That's why we keep going in our chanting or whatever, our associating with devotees, because we have some faith. That means, and then some faith means some love is there. Some love is definitely there. And do we think about Krishna some of the time? Put up your hand if you think about Krishna some of the time. You're only thinking about those things that you really have some love for, isn't it? Why would you think about something you don't have any love for?
It's like if somebody doesn't know anything about Krishna, where does he get the faith from?
Just like if you are walking on the street in Newcastle or wherever, and you see there's some devotees there chanting and dancing, and you think, God, they look so happy. I wish I was happy like them. And so that's it. That's the means, like the seed of faith is planted in your heart by something like that. Or you could meet a devotee and get a book from the devotee on the street and think, wow, even if you didn't end up buying the book, but think, wow, he was such a nice person. They were such a nice person, like that. So even that, is a little bit of faith is planted in the heart just by thinking some nice thoughts that you like that person like that. Or you do get the book and then you see a picture of Prabhupada there and you think, wow, he looks amazing. I remember when my mum brought home from the flea market, brought home from the flea markets, a science of self-realization, and I saw the picture of Prabhupada on the front cover, and there was some attraction there. Wow, he looks really amazing guy. He looks really deep.
even my mum said that this morning. I've got a book, this Prabhupada book here, and she said,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's such a lovely looking man, isn't he?"
Yeah. So even that means some faith is there.
Yeah,
There's some attraction, some love.
Yeah. And she
does some yeah. Yeah, that even that. So that's how it begins, some initial attraction is there through seeing devotees or seeing a picture or hearing about Krishna or hearing about a devotee or like that. You see how it works? Does that make sense? Gulshan? Answer your question?
Yes, because I think we are all the part and parcel of Krishna. Like even atheist people, he still have a seed from Krishna in him. And then if he wants to, water that seed, he'll start having a faith. Everybody has got this seed, but some people, they never water till death. They just die as it is, the way they're born. No spiritual growth. They did not find out that seed, but it's in there with them. Everyone, like it's 7 billion people.
Yeah, no, it said the love of Krishna is in the heart of every soul because we're all part and parcel of Krishna. Every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. So that seed of love of Krishna is there, but it just needs to be awakened. And how it's awakened is, like I said, by seeing the devotees or hearing about Krishna like that, especially by chanting Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada mentions,
by association with the devotees. And what do we do in the association of devotees? We talk about Krishna and we chant Krishna's names. And like that, so that's the watering process. That's how you water that seed of faith, is through chanting Hare Krishna and talking about Krishna. Okay, Giant is piping in from down below. She's quoting a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter, text 3. Out of millions. Oh, that's just coming up.
Yes, that's right.
That's just coming up. That's exciting.
Out of 1,000 among men, one may endeavor for perfection and those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Mm.
So
this is the verse explaining how rare it is that someone has full knowledge of Krishna, that fully knows Krishna in truth. That's very rare. That's a very rare.
Prabhupada was one of them. Was it?
Definitely. So this is 5,000 years ago. Krishna's saying this is so rare that someone can know him in truth. You know, out of thousands, one out of thousands tries to achieve perfection, and out of thousands of those rare people, hardly one.
Sometimes it takes more than one life.
One in millions. However, there is something has changed. Something has come up since 5,000 years ago that's changed this scenario, that it's so very, very rare that someone can know Krishna in truth. So what has happened in the last 5,000 years that may have changed this fact, that basically one out of millions?
Because Kali Yuga less. Maybe
True,
Treta Yuga
Kali
would be
Yuga.
more.
So what happened in Kali Yuga to change this?
Lord Chaitanya.
Lord Chaitanya, Haribol, Gauranga.
Yeah.
Lord Chaitanya has been freely distributing love of God, Krishna Prem. Free Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. He's freely distributing love for Krishna. So ordinarily something that's very rare to achieve, which is love of Krishna, knowledge of Krishna, after a very long time, many lifetimes performing austerities and things, that's what it was used to be like. But now Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement is like freely distributing love for Krishna, you know, knowledge for Krishna, love for Krishna, everything, to people that even if they've got no qualification, even if they're not very austere or not very pious or whatever, even if they're very sinful, Lord Chaitanya and his followers are just giving the highest thing, even to the lowest of persons. So that's very extraordinary, something that previously was so rare that someone could get knowledge about Krishna is becoming, you know, accessible even to the gang members and even the low class drunkards and womanizers and everything, you know, are getting the opportunity to develop love for Krishna, and we've seen it. And yes, Bhakti, but you're raising your hand because you feel you're in that category, is it? Yeah, we're also in the same, you know.
I feel like though with knowledge, like you may have been talking to me for years about something, and somebody else has been talking to me for years about something, but to do with Krishna. But it isn't till I go through something, like Krishna gives me this experience, and then everything people have said to me or have read, then it sort of clicks in. I think like I'm a bit of I don't know. I remember we talked about like some people learn just by reading about it, and then other people have to, they have to go to jail or something like that. And then the other, I can't remember all those examples of how the people learn, but I'm like quite slow because I'll read it and read it and read it and read it, hear it and hear it and hear it, but it isn't till I have some life experience, like Krishna puts it in my path, that it sort of clicks in. So it takes a long time to learn this knowledge when you're sort of learning it like that. Through experience.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Bhakti Mala. Very nice. Very nice. Krishna's reciprocating with you because of your sincerity in challenging situations. But you're explaining about different levels of intelligence. So it said that the most intelligent person will accept something just by hearing about it, just by hearing, like that stealing is stealing is very bad, and you'll end up suffering if you steal. So, well, you just hear that and then you accept that. Okay, I'm not going to steal just because you heard about it. And then the next class intelligent person, they see someone else steal, and then they get caught by the police and punished, and then they learn seeing someone else experience it. And then the even more lower level of intelligence, they've heard don't steal, but they still do it. They've seen other people steal and suffer, but they still do it. And then they get caught. they get caught and get thrown into jail, and then they learn, And then the worst is, you've heard don't steal, you've seen other people suffer, you went to jail, and then you've got out again, but then you're still stealing. And then you get thrown in, and again you come out, and again you steal. So it means you never learn. So these are different levels. So yeah, where are we?
I definitely have to get chucked in jail to learn.
A few times, huh?
A few times over, learn anything.
Yeah. But it's. No, but anyone that's come to Krishna consciousness is definitely very fortunate. You're very, very blessed if you've come to Krishna consciousness, because it is still quite rare. Even though Lord Chaitanya has propagated it widely, still we can see that it's quite rare one comes to Krishna consciousness. So it's Krishna's mercy. Okay, so let's start reading the purport. Okay, Bob, do you want to read the first one?
Sure can.
First paragraph.
All right. In this 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how he manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter.
Okay, that's nice. So yeah, here Prabhupada's giving us a little bit of a heads up what some of the content of this chapter is. So yeah, the nature of Krishna consciousness, and that the opulences of Krishna, 4 kinds of fortunate people who get attached to Krishna, 4 kinds of unfortunate persons who never get Krishna like that. So yeah, this is an interesting chapter because it talks about how we can see Krishna. But see, people say that, right? If I can see God, then I'll believe in God. But you have to be qualified before you can actually see the person, the supreme person. That we can see God in person, like we're seeing each other face to face. You have to be. There's some qualifications required. But even before we see God, who God is, then what other ways can we perceive that God exists? How can we know that God exists even before we see God?
Do you mean as far as hearing or reading or association, that sort of? Is that an answer you're looking for?
I'll give you another clue. Even if you can't see the sun, say it's hidden behind a cloud or whatever like that, then how can you know the sun exists? You can't see the sun because it's hiding behind a cloud. But how do you know the sun is there?
Because of the heat, the light.
Yeah, because of the heat and the light. So these are the symptoms of the sun's existence. These are, you could say, these are energies, by the energies of the sun. So even if you can't see the sun, we call that energetic. Energetic means the source of the energies. That's called energetic. So even if you can't see the energetic sun itself, but you can perceive the energies. And that's telling you that the source exists, that the sun is there, because I can feel the heat and see the light. So that's letting you know by perceiving those energies of the sun, you can definitely know the sun must be there. Otherwise, how can there be heat and how can there be light if there's no sun, right? So in the same way, I can't see Krishna, I can't see God, but I know God exists because his energies are around me every day. His energies are here every day around me. What are some of those energies?
Well, you can see the everything around that. Sun comes up and the weather change and the spring coming there. Every flower is blooming. That it's Krishna.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
nature, all these things, everything. There's one person asking that, can you show me God?
Yeah.
And there's the Amor Leela Prabhu says,
Yeah.
well, can you show me your intelligence?
Yeah.
Are you intelligent? He said, yes. He said, can you show me your intelligence? So we can't show you God. You can't show someone like, you can't show your intelligence. Buddhi. You can't show the Buddhi. We can't show you the God. You got a Buddhi, but you can't see.
But the intelligence of the material world shows that there's something greater than, that's making everything work so perfectly.
Yeah, the way it's working so perfectly, like Gulshan said, the seasons changing, everything like that, indicates there must be an intelligent person behind.
Yeah.
So like Bhakti Mala is saying, if you see things are happening very intelligently, then there must be a person behind it, because a person has intelligence, isn't it? When you say intelligence, that's coming from an intelligent person, isn't it? Intelligence means person. You can't have intelligence comes from a rock or something, or space or something like that. No, intelligence comes from an intelligent person. So there's so many energies around us every moment, every day. So like this chapter is going to tell us some of them. Like, for example, one of the verses says, I am the taste of water. So who doesn't drink water? No, we all drink water. Of course, people might add things to the water, have your lemonade or whatever like that. But it's based, here you go, Bob's demonstrating. Bob's demonstrating now. So how was that taste? Did it taste all right, Bob?
It tastes good.
Tastes good.
Yeah.
So that when we have that good taste of water, we can think of Krishna. We can remember Krishna, because Krishna's saying there in the Gita that I am the taste of water. I am that taste. So this is how we can perceive God, indicating in this chapter through the different energies. So this is a very interesting subject. So even though we don't have that pure love, immediately that Krishna's going to just, manifest in front of our eyes, with his beautiful blue form playing a flute, is not going to appear, right away. But even before that happens, we can know that he's there through these different energies. So in that way, everyone can see God through these different energies. Okay. Gulshan, next chapter,
Yep.
please.
In the first 6 chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul capable for elevating himself to self-realization by different type of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of a mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahmajyoti or localized Paramatma realization is not perfect knowledge of absolute truth, because it is partial. full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to a person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubt. Different type of yoga are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows the Brahma Jyoti and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entity, the material nature, and their manifestation with paraphernalia.
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 Should I stop or continue?
No, that's good. That's good.
You know that the Brahma Jyoti. This is in Jagannath deity in Puri. It changes every 12 years. When they change the deity, they just put the black out with the whole Jagannath Puri, all that area there, and the person who changed that, they put the blindfold on it and changed the Brahma Jyoti from deity to the second deity. And they asked that, what is it? They said, we don't know. We just have got a blindfolded, but this is just something in my hand, jumping like a squirrel in my hand. And then they transfer to next deity every 12 years. They call that Brahma Jyoti.
I didn't understand a word you said then.
Don't worry, it's okay. I understand. That's fine.
No, what you know, that huge form of Jagannath and Jagannath Puri, which you could say is made of wood, right?
Okay.
But it's not just ordinary wood. So although they've carved it out of a tree like that, so every 12 years that wooden form is replaced by another one. Every 12 years, and they bury the older one in the ground. And then there's a new one which will be there for 12 years. But when they're going from one Jagannath to the next Jagannath, there's something within that Jagannath that is transferred to the next one.
Yeah.
But what Gulshan's saying is that there's a person that's given the job to transfer that thing, whatever it is, Brahma Jyoti they call it, to the next one, but they're blindfolded, so they can't see what they're transferring.
Okay, all right.
So it's all very secret, all very mystical.
They will ask
But
the person, what was
like
that?
moving around. The
It's
person
moving
can't
like
see what it is.
You got a squirrel in
It's
the
like it's moving around in their hand when they're putting it in the
That's
next
all
one.
they can feel there.
They can feel that.
Wow.
That's they call the heart of Krishna.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
And then that's why that in Jagannath Puri they don't allow Westerners. They believe that one Westerner will come and steal that. That's why they don't allow Westerners in Puri. The Pandas believe one Westerner will come and steal that.
Yeah, but if Jagannath allows
that's right
someone to steal him, that means he wants to go.
That's right.
And
if
why
Jagannath
would he want
doesn't
to
allow,
go
no matter what you do.
If they're not serving him properly, then yeah, maybe he will want to go. But they should just look after him better, and then why would he want to go? You know, because the Jagannath means Lord of the Universe. I mean, you can't steal the Lord of the Universe unless he wants to go somewhere.
Of course.
You know, like that. So he's the boss.
Only his
So yeah, they're a bit
permission.
silly. And that's probably the reason why he will want to go, is because that his servants are not allowing other Western devotees to serve him and see him. But anyway,
is that the reason, or is there any other reason? I heard that reason.
No, well, that's there, but also the British stuffed it up. They mistreated Jagannath's servants a lot, and did so many things that weren't good. So to their culture and everything like that were very offensive. So that wasn't a very good foundation coming from the Westerners. Not a very good experience they have. Anyway, that's some details there. But yeah, so So yeah, what was it saying here? It was saying that Krishna consciousness is the topmost yoga, and that all the other types of yoga are stepping stones. So they're all stepping stones. So even the realization of the Brahmajyoti is a stepping stone to Krishna consciousness, and the Paramatma realization is a stepping stone to Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness means Bhagavan realization, because Bhagavan is Krishna. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is Krishna. So that is the complete realization of God. That is the complete realization. And the Brahmajyoti, or realizing the light aspect, that's a stepping stone. And then further is Paramatma, the super soul in the heart. And then more further is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world, who comes to the material world sometimes. That's the complete realization. And what Prabhupada's saying here, if you are Krishna conscious, you automatically you must know about the Brahmajyoti, and you must know about Paramatma. But if you are only Brahman realized, then you won't know about the higher levels. If you're only Brahman realized, you won't know about Paramatma, you won't know about Bhagavan. If you're Paramatma realized, you'll know about Brahman and Paramatma, but you won't know about Bhagavan. But if you know about Bhagavan, automatically means you'll know about what is Brahman and what is Paramatma. So you know about everything below that, the level that you're at, but you won't know about things more than that. But if you're on the Krishna conscious level, fully Krishna conscious, means there's nothing above that. So you know about everything else below that, all the lower steps. So when you're on a lower step, you're not meant to stay there. You should always try to progress. You should always try to go up. But the problem is people get stuck on one stage and they think that's all there is. Oh, I am Brahman, realize there's nothing more than that. Or even you could talk about, oh, I'm a Christian, or I'm a Hindu, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Buddhist, or whatever. Or I'm a hatha yogi, I'm an Astanga yogi, and that's it. That's perfection. But they should realize actually that they're stepping stones. They have to go further. But unfortunately, people, due to less knowledge, they think that the path they're on, that's the highest one. There's nothing more than that. And then they don't have any interest to go any further. And they don't want to hear about Krishna consciousness because they think that their path is the only path, or the best path.
The human thinks that Earth is the only planet. That's all. That's what the human thinks.
Yeah, like if you listen,
there's plenty planet in galaxy.
Yeah, if you follow the Western scientists, then they say the only planet with life on it in the universe is on Earth. So once you think like that, pretty much you can't talk to them anymore about life on other planets because they're already fixed on the idea that it's only here. So the first thing is if you want to go further and learning more things, you have to clear your head of all the junk. You have to realize that you're ignorant and you don't know anything and that you want to learn. If you already think you know everything, then you can't really teach the person. Like there's one music school in England. If you have no previous experience of music, then they have a course fee for them. And if you have previous music experience, then they charge you double. If you played a musical instrument before coming to them, they charge you double. Why is that? If you've never played a musical instrument, they have a fee, say it's $1,000. And then if you played a musical instrument, they charge you $2,000. Yep. So why are they charging you more?
Yeah. Because they have to delete the first. They already have something. Then
they have to delete all the wrong stuff first.
That's right.
They have to spend so much time trying to get all the wrong stuff out of your head before they can when you're a blank slate, then they can just put the right stuff in your head. So there's the same like that, you know, people get just stuck up with they think that, you know, Jesus is the only way, or Muhammad's the only way, or Buddha's the only way, or whatever, yoga is the only way, or it's perfection, or whatever like that. There's nothing better than that. So that takes a lot of work. That takes a lot of work. But the actual fact, according to the Vedas, is that all these processes of yoga and religions are just stepping stones on the way to Krishna consciousness. That the Vedas are saying that Krishna consciousness is the highest state of consciousness, and that everything else is helping us get towards there. So we're not criticizing any parts. We're not criticizing any parts, but they're all meant to be leading to Krishna consciousness. Like I know devotees, before they became devotees of Krishna, that I know some of them were Buddhists, and then they became Krishna conscious. So that was a stepping stone from Buddhism to Krishna consciousness. I know some that were Christians before, and then that was a stepping stone to them becoming Krishna conscious. And I know, you know, some were like scientists before, and that was a stepping stone to becoming Krishna conscious. And like that, some of them were like philosophers, and then they became Krishna conscious. You know, so people have stepped from so many different places to Krishna consciousness. So it's meant to be like that. You know, we're meant to keep going forward, don't stop. Even within Krishna consciousness, don't think, oh, I've joined the Hare Krishna movement, that's it, end of story, my life is over now. No, even when you join Krishna consciousness, there's so many levels. Like I said, you know, the topmost level is Mahabhava. You know, if you're not on that level of Mahabhava, great ecstasy, then you need to keep stepping forward. Don't think, well, you know, I'm chanting 16 rounds, that's it, finished. My journey's over. No, it's just begun. Like Prabhupada didn't say, Prabhupada said that I said minimum 16 rounds. I didn't say maximum. That's the minimum. You can even chant more. You can chant 20 rounds a day, 26 rounds a day, 30 rounds a day. 50, 60, 100.
That's what Janananda Maharaj says, that when initiated to Bhakti Mala. I remember that she said 16 was minimum.
Not the maximum.
I remember that.
That's not the finish. You know, 16 is not the finish. That's just another step, a step on the way. You know, so we always should be thinking, you know, I can go further, go further, go further. Otherwise, we tend to think, no, I don't want to hear anymore. You know, that's enough. You know, my life's already perfect. I know everything, like that. But that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. We get like that. You can't learn anything when you think you know everything, and you think you're already perfect. Actually, Prabhupada said, even a pure devotee, a pure devotee never thinks he's a pure devotee. Anyone that says that he's a pure devotee, he's not a pure devotee. He's a rascal. Prabhupada was saying, you know, that a pure devotee is very humble. He thinks, because that's one of the qualifications of a pure devotee is humility. And in that the humility of the devotee, he's not thinking I'm a devotee. He's thinking, like Prabhupada said, like Lord Brahma's prayer to Krishna. Do you know what his prayer to Krishna was? Krishna, please make me, I want to take birth as a blade of grass in Vrindavan in my next life. Can you imagine? This is the top person in our universe. This is the CEO of the universe praying to Krishna, can I please become a blade of grass in your hometown? Can I become a blade of grass in your hometown, Vrindavan? You know, so that's very humble. You know, he's very humble like that. Krishnadas Kaviraj, who wrote all about Lord Chaitanya's pastimes and activities, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said, I'm lower than a worm in stool. He said, I'm lower than a worm in stool. That's pretty low. And then he said, anyone that says my name, his name was Krishnadas. So he said, anyone that says my name, so it's not a bad name, it's a good name. He said, anyone that says my name immediately becomes a sinful person, becomes a sinner. If a person says my name, he becomes a sinner. So what is he thinking about himself? Is he thinking, oh, I am such a great person with a great name? He's thinking, no, I'm such a rascal. Don't say my name, mate. Otherwise, you're going to lose all the good credits you've done today if you say my name.
But
you know,
his
he's
name was great. His name was Krishna.
I know, but Krishna Das, servant of Krishna. But he's saying, that anyone remembers this particular servant of Krishna, immediately becomes sinful, because he's thinking he's a sinful person. He's a very fallen soul, a very rotten soul. One time, Prabhupada, he was telling the devotees what the mantra is to offer the bhoga when we're in the prasadam process of offering food, the bhoga. What is the mantra? He said, the mantra is, Krishna, please take this. I am rotten. He said, I am rotten. That's the mantra. I am rotten. Krishna means like a beggar. Please take. What is it? Please take. Like a beggar. Please help me. Please, can you give me something? Please. You can't force. You're just begging. That's what begging means, right? Begging, you can't force someone to give you money, but you're just begging, please help me. I'm suffering, please. So they said the mantra is, please, Krishna, please accept this, like a beggar. And I am rotten. I have no qualification, like that. And he said, I'm just trying to assist my guru. My guru has ordered me to give this food to you. I don't have any qualification. My guru is telling me I have to give you this food. I have no other qualification. That's my only qualification. I'm just doing what he's telling me to do. So they said, this is mantra. Means, very humble. The devotee is very humble. So devotees never thinking, I am pure devotee, I am Bhagavad, I am Paramahamsa. It's never thinking like that. We should see them. We should see the pure devotee. He's Paramahamsa. He's a pure devotee. He's a Bhagavad, like that. We shouldn't think he's rotten. If you think the devotee's rotten, then you're completely rotten. But he's thinking himself rotten. Each pure devotee is thinking of himself very humble, very lowly, everything. I'm not a devotee. I'm not a good devotee, like that. And generally in the neophyte devotees, they think they're the greatest. I'm the most advanced person in the temple, and they're just a rascal, so like that. So
what does it mean by practice of Krishna consciousness? One can know everything in full, but what does it mean, their manifestations with paraphernalia, namely the absolute truth?
Okay, yeah. So one can know everything in full. That's the last sentence in the paragraph that Gulshan just read. So when it's saying knowing everything in full, what does that mean, knowing everything in full? So it means knowing the absolute truth. That means Krishna. Krishna is the absolute truth, right? So what does full knowledge mean? It means you have to have full knowledge of Krishna, but not just Krishna the person. Okay, I know the person, but I don't know anything about the living entities. I don't know anything about the universe. No. Full knowledge means you know about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know about his parts and parcels, the living entities. Okay, so you know about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You know about all the jivas, means the tiny parts and parcels of Krishna, the souls that are everywhere in the spiritual world and the material world that are serving Krishna or serving Maya. So you know about them too. And then you know about the material nature. So you know about the universe and how is how it was created, and there's 14 planetary systems, and there's unlimited universes, and they come like perspiration out of the body of Mahavishnu. When he breathes out, all the universes come out like bits of perspiration out of his skin. When Mahavishnu breathes in, they come in again. And then within each universe, there's another incarnation of Vishnu named Garbhodakashayi. Vishnu lies down on the Garbha ocean, which half fills the universe. And then a lotus comes out of his navel. Lord Brahma is born from there. And then he creates all the different 8,400,000 species of life and blah, blah, blah. So you know all about the universe, about how it was created and how Vishnu is maintaining it and how it's destroyed. Your Lord Shiva at the end of the universe destroys everything, and then the souls are withdrawn back into the body of Vishnu again until the next creation. So you have to know about the universe too, and the modes of nature. You know about the modes of goodness and passion and ignorance, and you want to avoid passion and ignorance because that's going to cause you to keep taking birth after birth, and you want to be more in the mode of goodness, which is a stepping stone to Krishna consciousness and blah, blah, blah. So you know all about those things, about the material nature and their manifestations with paraphernalia. So yeah, so these things, like, okay, getting back to Krishna, right? Sometimes Krishna is manifest in the material world. Like today, actually, this is a good example. Today is the anniversary of the day that Vamanadev manifested in the material world millions of years ago. So this is the appearance day of Vamanadev, who's the dwarf incarnation. He's the dwarf incarnation. We're celebrating his appearance today, that he manifested in the material world. All these forms are eternal, like Krishna's eternal, right? Vamanadev is eternal, Nrsingadev is eternal. But sometimes they're not manifest to us, and sometimes they are, right? Sometimes, like the sun, right? The sun is eternal. It's always there, you could say. It's always there. But sometimes you can see it, and sometimes you can't. So when you can't, that's called unmanifest, aprakat. And when you can, that's called manifest or prakat. So this is knowledge too. You have to know about the different manifestations when they become visible, when God becomes visible in the material world. When he's not visible, then he's in the spiritual world or in another universe, or when he's visible here, like Krishna came here 5,000 years ago, that's his manifestation. Or Vamanadev came, that's his manifestation, like that. And then they don't come alone. They come with their paraphernalia. Like and they come in with other people around, like Lord Chaitanya came with Haridas Thakur and with Lord Nityananda and Advaita Acharya and Gadadhar Pandit and Srivas Thakur, and therefore you're Panchatattva, right? They're paraphernalia. They're different associates in paraphernalia. And then paraphernalia also means, like, Lord Chaitanya carried japa beads. That's his paraphernalia. And he carried a water pot for carrying water. That's his paraphernalia. Or he carried a danda, the stick, the sannyasi danda. That's paraphernalia. And that Vamanadev, the dwarf incarnation, he carried an umbrella. He carried an umbrella. He carried an umbrella. He's a brahmachari, appeared as a brahmachari, and he carried an umbrella. Do you know why they carried an umbrella? You're going to say the rain, right? No, not because of the rain. They use it to keep the sun off them.
Oh.
Because it's very hot, you know, and especially in Indian kind of climate, very hot sun. Like often you'll see pictures of Prabhupada and there's one of his servants is carrying an umbrella and he's holding over Prabhupada. So that's a ceremonial thing. But the practical reason why this traditional ceremonial umbrella is held over the saint is just to stop the hot sun from, you know, getting on his skin and burning him like that. So that's a nice service you can do for your guru, is hold an umbrella over his head when it's a hot day. And that's the first time I saw anyone use an umbrella except for the rain. Was when it was, because normally we see it used for the rain, right? But in Indian culture, they mainly use it for the sun. have an umbrella like that. So Prabhupada was the first person I saw use it for that purpose. So yeah, Vamana's paraphernalia was an umbrella, and also a water pot. You know, so they're different. And what's Krishna's paraphernalia?
His flute.
Yeah, his flute.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he has the Vaijayanti mala, you know, a garland with like 5 different kinds of flowers or whatever like that, you know, and Radharani, you know, and Arjuna, and the Pandavas, and Mother Yashoda, and Nanda Maharaj, and the cows. That's his paraphernalia, all the cows, and the cowherd boys, you know. So it means all the things that come with them. So you don't just, I know about Krishna, but I don't know about anything else. No, but you have to know about the cows. You have to know that Krishna loves cows. It's not good enough you just know about Krishna, but you also have to know about the cows. He loves cows. And if you love Krishna, you have to love cows. If you don't love cows, then I'm sorry, but you're not qualified yet to go back to Godhead. You know, so, and you have to love the devotees. If I love Krishna, but I don't love the devotees, so that's not good enough. You have to know about the devotees, and you have to love the devotees. You know, you have to know about Prabhupada, you know, like that. You know, so that this is all things that are related to them, that are related to not only to God, we know about God, yes, but all the things that are related to God, all the things connected to God. That's very important. That's very important. Yeah, and then you know about all those things related to God and the universe and the souls. Then you have full knowledge. That's full knowledge. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a bit to learn. Yeah, there's a bit to know. There's a bit to know. But you don't have to know about computers or mobile phones or the accounting system, banking system. You don't have to know about politics, all that kind of stuff. These are unnecessary things. But that you want to have to know about these necessary things. These are the important things. About God, his parts and parcels, about the universe, how it was created and how it's working and everything, and how we can get disentangled from the universe, and about the Lord's appearances in the material world and his different associates that appear with him and his paraphernalia and everything. That's what we need to know about. But you don't need to know about some life cycle of some bug in Africa or some useless thing. You know, mundane geography and geology and botany and zoology, and you don't need to know all that stuff is unimportant. That's called Maya. You don't need to know all of that. Okay. Okay, Bhakti Mala, you want to read the next one? One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Takshunu, or hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna-conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly, or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart puffed up with academic education. So yeah, you have to hear from Krishna or Krishna's representative. If they're not Krishna's representative, they're just some puffed up upstart. No, we don't want to hear from them. Academic. Of course, some devotees are very academically qualified. That's fine. And there are, like Hridayananda Das Goswami and that. He's academically qualified and he's a sincere devotee of the Lord. So advanced devotee of the Lord. So that's fine. But if they're just academic educated, but they're not a devotee, then no, we don't want to hear from them. So you don't want to hear from them. If you hear from someone that's not a devotee, that can destroy your bhakti creeper. That can destroy your bhakti. If you hear from an impersonalist or a non-devotee, a materialistic person, that can destroy our bhakti. It won't help us advance like that. So no, you have to learn from someone that's a devotee of Krishna or Krishna himself. Okay. Bob, do you want to continue? You don't have to read all that Sanskrit. Just
Right.
English.
So where it says to hear about?
In the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Sorry?
It says in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Oh, okay. Yep. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto as follows. Can I go straight to the English?
Yeah, to hear.
Yeah. To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees. He becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lust and avarice.
Avarice here means greed.
What does it mean, greed?
Avarice means greed.
Avarice is diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of samsayam samagram, understanding in the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead. The Bhagavad Gita, I guess, 127.
No, Bhagavatam, yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam.
Right. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna.
Yeah, so this is the science of Krishna that Prabhupada's quoting here from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I highly recommend this if you guys have the 1st canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. This is like, I mean, Prabhupada spoke on these verses so much. And I mean, this is the full process of Krishna consciousness given there in that 2nd chapter from that 17th verse to 21. And all in a nutshell, the whole process of Krishna consciousness. I know many devotees learn these verses by heart. They're very wonderful. So right from the beginning, when you start hearing about Krishna, it takes us right to the end, which is all the doubts are removed, which is Prabhupada's bringing it back to this first verse we're reading in the 7th chapter, where it says, Samshayam samagram mam. Remember? That was the 3rd line of this verse today. Maya sakta manaparta yogam yunjan marachraya asamshayam samagramam yatagyasasi tachtanu. So samshayam means without doubt, and samagram means completely or fully. So you can have completely fully know God without any doubts, means all the doubts, all the ignorance is gone. So how to get to that stage of free from all ignorance and complete knowledge about God, that's starting with this process of hearing about Krishna. So you start hearing about Krishna and you get purified within your heart, Hridyantasto, that Krishna's in our heart and he cleans all the rubbish things from our heart, Abhadrani. Abhadrani means all the inauspicious, all the bad things. So he cleanses. Vidunoti means cleanses. And because he's the friend, the suhrit, Suhrit means friend of the satam. Satam means the devotee. So I'm looking at the first of the Sanskrit verses here in this purport. So he's the friend of his devotees, and he cleanses all the rubbish from their heart when they take up this process of hearing about him and chanting his glories. He's very pleased. He's very pleased when any devotee hears about him and glorifies him, and then he cleanses all the rubbish in their heart. And then Nasta Praisabhadrasu means that all that rubbish, abhadra, all the bad things are destroyed almost to nothing. Nasta Prayasu Praish means almost to nil, almost to zero. It means nearly all of the rubbish in the heart is completely removed by Krishna when they take up this process. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam means always. Bhagavat Sevaya means, hearing these classes on Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. That's Bhagavat Sevaya. You go to the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam class in the temples in the morning, or like now we're doing Bhagavad Gita class. This is called Bhagavat Sevaya, where this is service, as to hearing from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. And then by doing this regularly, every day hearing about Krishna, then bhakti becomes fixed up in the heart, naishtaki. Naishtaki means you become fixed up, you become steady. So the bhakti becomes very steady, fixed up when we take up this process of daily hearing about Krishna. And then all the passion and ignorance in our heart gets removed. Rajas, tamoba, and the effects of that kama, lobha. So lust and greed gets removed. So all the passion and ignorance and the symptoms of that is lust and greed and anger and so forth. That all gets taken away, and we become fixed up in the mode of goodness. Stitam sattve. So that means you become fixed in the mode of goodness, and prasidati, become satisfied. You become happy. You become completely happy once you're free from all the lust and greed and anger and so forth, and the heart is removed by Krishna. Then you become peaceful and happy. Evam prasana manaso. Then your mind becomes fully enlivened. Your mind becomes fully enlivened, fully happy. You're always happy. Like Prabhupada said, they used to be hippies and they become happies. So your mind becomes happy. Always, like, isn't it where our mind gets depressed, our mind gets anxiety. But when you get fixed up and always hearing about Krishna, then your mind becomes always happy in the mind, always very bright and enlivened, very happy in your mind, enlivened through this process of Bhagavad Bhakti Yogata, which is hearing and chanting about Krishna. And then you get scientific knowledge about Krishna, Bhagavat Tattva Viganam. You get scientific knowledge about Krishna from Krishna himself within your heart. Gives you that scientific knowledge. That means you get the truth, the tattva. Tattva means the truth. You become fixed up in the truth, in these facts, unshakable in your heart. Mukta sangasya jayate. Then you're liberated. You get completely liberated. You're free from all the suffering of the material world at that point. And vidya hridaya grantis. Then the knot in the heart is completely cut to pieces. The knot in the heart. What's the knot in the heart? False ego. False ego gets cut to pieces. Your false ego. Krishna cuts your false ego to pieces. I am a man. I am a Kiwi. I am 50 years old. This is my wife. This is my family. All this false ego gets completely cut to pieces. And the real ego, I am Krishna's eternal servant. That gets established. Chidyante sarvashamshaya. Well, here we go, all the doubts. All the doubts are completely annihilated. All the doubts are completely wiped out, all your doubts. Chiyate chasyakamani. All your karma is all blasted away, obliterated. All your bad karma from the past, all your good karma. No more karma. You're completely free from karma. You're not going to go to heaven in your next life, and you're not going to go to hell in your next life. You're going to go, you've got no more karma anymore. You're going back home, back to Godhead. Hari bol. Dristva eva manishray means when you see the self as the master. Means when you see that Krishna, so that's the ultimate stage, when you're seeing Krishna as your master. You're seeing Krishna as your master, so that's you're in the real ego, and all the ignorance and doubts has all gone away, and you're seeing Krishna like we're seeing each other now, and you're seeing Krishna face to face. My wonderful master Krishna. Hare Krishna. So this is the science. This is the science. So it's the last line says, therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. So yeah, that's how the science begins. Just through hearing from the devotees, hearing from Krishna himself, the Bhagavad Gita, or from Krishna's devotees. And then it just goes step by step by step until we can see Krishna face to face in complete ecstasy and bliss. That's exciting. That's exciting.
Very, very exciting.
Exciting. Does anyone want to say anything?
See you next week.
Yes.
Will you be there? Will you be there, Gilshan?
Well, depends. If Jagannath wants, I'll be there. If Jagannath doesn't, I won't be there.
All right. And
It's up to
Bhakti,
Jagannath.
I'll give you a call.
Okay.
All right.
Abhay Prabhu, I was asking you that when you was here, is there any way, would you be telling me that find out the Radhanath Swami's schedule in Vrindavan in Kartik? I want to have a glimpse of him.
Oh, right. God, yeah, I don't know any of his disciples. I don't know. I'll have a look on the internet. But yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat as you in terms of that. I don't know. I never
you had a
really,
personal
because we don't
one-on-one
have
with
any
him.
of his. We don't have any of his disciples in New Zealand or in
You
Australia. There's
said
not
that you
many.
know someone that from Goranga Das that he's a CEO from Eco Village. He arranged that a meeting with you for 5 minutes, 101.
Yeah, that was
I'll
Well,
let
that's
you
right.
talk anyway, and I'll see you soon.
Okay, see ya.
Okay, Krishna.
Bye bye.
All I
Yeah,
want
that's
to
right.
know,
So
all I
yeah,
want
one
to
of
know
Jayanti's relatives
yeah.
is close to Guranga. Okay, so yeah, I can ask
Just tell me
Jayanti.
the schedule, like which dates he will be in Vrindavan.
Yeah.
I will find him, but at
Yeah.
least I just want to know. Means if he giving any lecture in Vrindavan, so I want to attend it.
Yeah.
All I just want to know which days in Vrindavan and or what lecture is like, what time and things like.
Yeah.
All just timing, and then I just find him. It'll be in ISKCON temple, and I booked at my hotel. It's just like
Come up
just behind
here.
the ISKCON temple.
Yeah, Jayanti's just saying something from down below. She's just
I
saying.
think we have Gauranga Prabhu's email, so.
Oh, Jayanti thinks she has Gauranga's email. So yeah, we
if
can
we
email.
give it to him, he can write to him because he's probably not going to remember us really.
Oh, okay. Or she's saying we can give Gauranga's email to you, and you can write to him.
Gauranga doesn't know me at all. I don't know.
But he doesn't really know. He won't remember us. That was like
Okay.
years ago. But otherwise, we can talk to Jayanti's relative, and maybe he can get the information from Gauranga. Anyway, leave it with me. I'll look into it.
Just the schedule.
When do you go? When's your flight?
I'm leaving on 28th of this month, and Kartik start next month on the 8th. So I'll be in the 8th in Vrindavan for 1 week.
Yeah. Well, there's still time anyway. There's still time.
Still time. Yeah. Beautiful.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey,
Thank you,
I sent an email to Aniket on his business email, but he never replied to me. Can you get me his personal email or WhatsApp?
I don't have his email address. Only just talking on the message. If
Yeah,
he comes to the restaurant, I'll ask him.
Yeah, you ask him. I need some way I can. He wanted a recipe from me, so but he never replied to my my message to his business
I think
email.
if you are not known to him, it might be going to the junk.
Yeah. So if you
Okay,
can find out what's the best way I can send him the recipe.
sure.
It's,
If he comes, this usually comes on the weekend to eat in Bhakti Tree, and
Yeah.
I'll ask him that what's his personal email, and then
Yeah.
I'll put it on the WhatsApp to you.
Yeah.
One
Okay.
easy way would be
Hang on. Come on, say.
Brett can give it to the Bhakti Tree email, or even Bhakti Mala doesn't have access. Maybe Brett can give.
We can give what?
They are on the Bhakti Tree's emailing list. Their personal email. will
Oh,
be
they
there.
are in the database.
Yeah.
Yeah, Giant is saying that Aniket's email must be on Bhakti Tree's database.
Yeah, and but the Bhakti Mala has got access of that.
Okay, well, if you could do.
Doesn't have access anymore.
Oh,
No?
Giant is
So
saying
Brett,
she doesn't have
then
access
Brett will
anymore.
have access.
Yeah. One way or another, if you could just get me some.
But in the meanwhile, if he comes to the restaurant to eat, that I'll definitely
Yeah.
ask his personal
Yeah.
email.
That'll be great. Yeah, cool.
Therefore,
Okay, thank you very
okay.
much.
Thank you. See you next week. Haribol.
Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath. I'm coming, Jagannath. Please
Coming
allow me.
soon.